Now it's time to do some arithmetic with the dates, right? So remember, when we started out, we talked about storing date and time in different ways, right? So first we tried and stored it as number, and then we figured out R was basically doing some subtraction instead of storing it as date. Then we use the uh, character or string data, right? So we enclose the date with codes, and then we saw that we could do that, but then there are a lot of different types of operations that you can't do it when you store the data as string or character, right? So one of the thing was how to add or subtract days or months or weeks from that particular date, right? How to change the date by adding or subtracting the different components, right? So now what we'll do is, since we have learned about the right way to store date and time in R in the previous module using the date and the POSIX CT and POSIX LT classes, we can now look at some basic arithmetic, right? So we learn how to add or subtract the different components, right? So for this, what we'll do is we'll start by calculating the length of a course you have enrolled for, right? So let us say it has become a rock star data scientist in 10 days. Okay, so we have the course start date, which is 12th April 2017, and the course end date, it is 21st April 2017. Now to do the calculation, that is the length or duration of this course, we have to subtract the course start date from the course end date, right? And that will give us the duration or length of the course. And to do this, we'll have to store the dates using the date class, right? See, here we do not have any time component, right? So as we told in the previous module, when you don't have any time or time zone component, you can use the date class, right? So let us go to RStudio, and here we will store the two dates using as.date, right? So let us say course start is on 2017 April 12th, right? And in the same way, course end is 2017 April 21st, right? So we have stored both of this, and now we look at the course length. So that would be course end minus course start, right? And if we call it out, we should be able to see the course length, right? So the time difference of 9 days. So the course length or course duration is 9 days. So whenever you want to do some basic arithmetic, that is, you're trying to look at the difference between two dates in days, then first thing you have to do is store them as either the date class or the POSIX CT or LT class, and then you'll be able to look at the difference between these two dates. Again, remember, if you do it only using the character or string class, you will not be able to do it, because the type of operations that is done on character or string data is different from the type of operations that is made available on the data or type data. Now this is good, right? So we have a start date, we have an end date, and then we just subtracted them to look at the course length. Now what you want to update or change the components of a date, right? So we'll take one of these dates, and then we'll see how we can add a few days, weeks, month or years to this date to update it or change it, right? So in this case, we are looking at shifting the date, right? So we have the course start date, and let us say the course is postponed, right? So due to some issue, your course gets postponed by a few days, weeks or even years, right? So how do we do this? How do we change this? So for that, what you can do is you can use these functions from the Lubridate package, and then we will change the different components of this course start date. So I have course start here, right? And let us say I want to change the course start date by a couple of days, right? So instead of 12th April, it starts on 14th April, right? So then I can use this function, which is days, and it comes from Lubridate package. So I'll add 2 days to this date, right? So it goes to 14th April. Now let us say the course gets postponed by a few weeks, right? So let us say it is postponed by 3 weeks, right? So then you use the weeks function, then you specify the number of weeks. So now you can see it has moved to 3rd May here, right? It has moved by 3 weeks. And let us say in some rare case your course is postponed almost by a year, right? Then you can use the years function. Again, this is from the Lubridate package. So it gets postponed to 2018, right? So here it has been changed to 12th April 2018. So whenever you have a particular date and you're trying to change some component of that date, right? So it can be the day, the week, by month, or by year, right? So you can use these functions. They are from the Lubridate package. We have given the link to the reference for these functions from the package website as well in the learning management system. So you can go to the reference and look at similar functions, right? There are other functions as well. You can look at all those functions and use them whenever you are trying to change the different components of a date. Basically, you are trying to update the date, or you are trying to change the components, and you can use these functions, right? Now what we'll do is we'll quickly go to the case study, right? So you remember the case study that initially we talked about, where we had the invoice data, the due date, and the payment date, right? So for a set of invoices, we have the date on which the invoice was raised, the date on which the payment against that invoice is due, and the date on which the payment was actually made, right? So we looked at that. I'll come back to that case study here and we'll try to answer a couple of questions, right? So one of the things that we want to do is understand the number of days to settle the invoice, right? That's the number of days taken to settle this invoice. So that would be the payment date minus the invoice date, right? So invoice has been raised on a particular day and payment has been made on another day, and we want to understand the number of days taken to settle this invoice, right? So you have the payment day and the invoice date. You subtract the invoice date from the payment date and you get the number of days taken to settle or make payment against this invoice. So we are going to use a couple of other packages as well here, right? So we'll be using the dplyr package. If you're not very familiar with the dplyr package or data manipulation, we have a few courses on data wrangling with R. So you can go through those courses first and get a good understanding of the basic data manipulation techniques, and then you can come back here. So we'll use the dplyr package to create a new column called days to pay, and we'll do that using the mutate function from the dplyr package. Now before we do that, we need to read in the case study data set, right? So we have not done that yet. So let us do that. You can read this data set either from the link that we have given in the learning management system, that is from GitHub, or you can download the data set from the learning management system itself, save it locally, and then you can read it using the readr package, right? So here we'll also load the readr package to reduce any confusion, right? So we'll reuse the readr package to read the data set in, and we'll also use the dplyr package to create a new column called days to pay, in which we'll store the number of days taken to settle the invoice, right? So let us first load these two. packages. Okay, and then we load the data set. Right, great. So let us take a quick view of the data set using view function. Right, so here is the data set, right? So like we said earlier, it has 3 columns: invoice, due, and payment, and all of them have dates in them, and they're in the correct format, right? Year, month, and day. So year is in 4 digits, month and day are in 2 digits. Okay, so now let us calculate the number of days to settle this invoice. Okay, so we'll first use the transact data set, and then we'll create a new column called days to pay using the mutate function. Right, days to pay, and this is computed by subtracting the invoice column from the payment column. Right, so here we are using a pipe, and if you're not familiar with the pipe operators, we have a course called Readable Code with Pipes. It's a very small course. Please go through it. It will allow you to write better code using the pipe operator. Okay, so because we follow this style in all our courses, please go through that course. It will allow you to write better code, and it will also allow you to go through the code used in our courses easily. Right, so let us try this. Alright, so here you can see the output, right? So here you can see the new column that we created, days to pay, right? And you can see the duration here, that is 13 days, right? Here it is 36 days, that is, these are the number of days from the invoice date taken to make the payment, right? So in this case they took 13 days to make the payment. In this case they have taken 36 days. Here they have taken just 5 days to make the payment, right? So the invoice is raised on 3rd July 2013, and the payment was made on 8th July 2013. So that is just 5 days, right? So this is a very simple and basic example of using date arithmetic to get some information that you need, right? Great. Now let us look at another question from the case study, where we want to compute the days overdue. That is, how many of the invoices were settled post the due date, right? So there's the invoice date, then there is the due date by which the payment has to be made against the invoice. In some cases the payment is made before the due date, in some cases the payment is made on the due date, and in other cases the payment is made after the due date. So now we want to look at those cases where the payment is made after the due date, and then we want to create a table, right? The tabulation that, okay, 30 cases the payment was made with 1 day delay, in 25 cases the payment was made with 2 days delay, in some 10 cases the payments were made with 3 days delay. So we want to look at the tabulation of the cases where there has been a delay in payment, that's the payment has been made after the due date, right? So we'll start off with creating a new column called delay. Right, so if it can have 3 values. Okay, one value is 0, that's if the payment has been made on the due date, then it will have a 0 value. If the payment has been made before the due date, then it will have a different value, and if the payment has been made after the due date, then it will have a different value, right? So we'll see in which case the value is 0, in which cases the value is negative, and in which cases the value is positive, right? So here we have compute days overdue. Okay, so we'll take the data set first, which is transact, then we'll use the mutate function from dplyr to create a new column called delay, and this is created by subtracting the due date column from the payment date column, right? First we'll see the output from this one. From this step we'll see the output. and then we'll go to the next step, right? So because we have to see in which cases it has a value of 0, in which cases it has a negative value, and in which cases it has a positive value, right? So here you can see the output, right? So we have the fourth column here, delay. Now look at the first row, right? So the due date is on 1st February 2013 and the payment has been made on 15 January 2013, right? So the payment here has been made before the due date, right? So the payment date comes earlier and the due date comes after that. So when you subtract the payment date from the due date, you have a negative value here because the payment date comes first and the due date comes afterwards. Now look at the second row, right? Here the due date is 25th February 2013, but the payment has been made on 3rd March 2013, right? So the payment date comes after the due date. There is a delay in payment here. The payment has not been made within the due date. So in this case, you have a positive value of 6 days. That is a delay of 6 days in making the payment. That is, payment has been made 6 days after the due date, right? So from this, you know that if the payment has been made before the due date, this column has a negative value. And if the payment has been made after the due date, this column has a positive value, right? So what do we do in this case now? We want to look at those cases where there has been a delay in payment, right? So we only want those cases where there is a positive value, where the payment has been made after the due date, right? So let us filter for those rows, right? So we'll use the filter function and we'll say that we want all the rows where the delay column has a value greater than 0. Right, so now you have only those rows which have a value greater than 0, right? In this case we had negative values as well, minus 17 days, minus 25 days, minus 4 days. Here we only have positive values, right? Which means we have filtered for all those rows, all those cases or invoices where there has been a delay in payment. That is, the payment has been made after the due date, right? Now with this, you can now create a table or you can tabulate how many cases where the payment was made after 1 day, after 4 days, after 5 days or 6 days, right? So basic arithmetic will be a lot useful when you're trying to get such essential information, right? Whether something was made before the due date or after the due date or on the due date, right? Such information you can use simple basic arithmetic and then you can start filtering the rows to extract the required information and then you can further summarize them, right? You can create tables or you can represent them using graphs or plots, right? So this module again was a small module. We just wanted to show you how to do some basic data arithmetic, that is update the dates, different components of the dates or change them. And we also use the case study data set for the first time, right? So in the previous model we didn't use it. When we are looking at date and POSIX-CT and POSIX-LT classes, we didn't use the case study data set, but here we have started using it, and going forward in some of the modules we'll continue to use the case study data sets, right? So what we want you to do next is the few practice questions for you. So first thing is compute the length of a vacation which begins on 19th April 2020 and ends on 25th April 2020, and then recompute the length of the vacation after shifting the vacation start and end date by 10 days and 2 weeks. So you will update the vacation start date by 10 days, you will update the vacation end date by 2 weeks, and then again recompute the length of the vacation. And then you'll use the receivables data set. That's another data set that is available in the learning management system. You'll read it in. We'll show you how to do that in the 5th or 6th module. So you'll compute the days to settle invoice and days overdue from that data set as well. And again, you'll use the HR data set. So this is another data set that we have added for your practice. You'll read that in and you will compute the length of employment. So only for those employees who have been terminated, right? So first you have to filter out for those employees who have been terminated, and then you have to compute the length of employment for those employees using the date of hire and termination, right? So in the first two cases, you are creating the date by yourself, and then you are updating or changing them, and you're doing some basic subtraction there. In the next two cases, you have to read in two different data sets, and then you have to follow what we have done in the case study in this module, right? So create a new column, right, using the mutate function from the dplyr package, and then you subtract the relevant columns from the data set so that you can compute the days to settle invoice or days overdue and the length of employment. Great. Now in the next module, we'll learn about time zones and daylight savings, right? So when we were using POSIX CT, POSIX LT in the second module, we came across all these things, right? The time zone, and is daylight savings in effect? What is the offset from GMT in seconds? We were looking at that in case of POSIX LT, right? So now we'll spend some time and understand why there are different time zones, why is there the daylight savings effect, and we'll also understand the difference between a time zone and a time standard, right?
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply to them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos on our playlist, and subscribe to R Squared Academy channel to learn more. Happy learning!